Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another chapter of Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, Chapter 16. I do hope you're enjoying the series so far. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, subscribe, as it does help my channel grow. In the meantime, get cozy and let's get through this torture of Chapter 16, Christmas Eve. Beyond the gates of Halloween Town, the night grew cold and reeked of sulfur. As the bathtub marched towards the gate and into the wilderness, Sandy Claus kicked at the bag, continuing to struggle. Me on vacation on Christmas Eve. The trick-or-treaters rolled their eyes. They were growing tired of his complaints. Where are we taking him? Beryl asked, shocked. Yeah, where? Beryl asked Locke. Yeah, where? Shock repeated. Locke took off his mask and declared, why to Oogie Boogie, of course. There isn't anywhere in the whole world more comfortable than that. He gave a sly wink to Shock. Jack said to make him comfortable, didn't he? Yes, he did, Shock and Barrel agreed, equally slyly. From inside the sack, Sandy Claus' muffled voice admonished them. Haven't you ever heard of peace on earth and goodwill towards men? No, the three trick-or-treaters erupted into cackling. They led the walking bathtub up the rickety ramp into their treehouse. Once they were in the main room, they let Sandy Claus out of the bag. He took a deep breath. Don't do this, he protested. Naughty children never get any presents. That only made them laugh harder. What did they care about presents? This wasn't the act of being naughty. That was the true gift. It was the act of being naughty that was the true gift. Okay, I understand what you're saying now. They stuffed him headfirst into the chute that led to Oogie Boogie's lair. They cackled as they prodded his backside with a plunger, a broom, and a pitchfork. The big guy kicked his little feet uselessly. I think he might be too big. Shuck smacked him with her broom, or smacked his bottom with his broom. No, he's not, Locke disagreed. If he can go down a chimney, he can fit down here. The three of them shoved their tools against his apple bottom, and with a cry, Santa Claus finally was squeezed into the chute, the metal pipe groaning as the large man tumbled down, popping nails and threatening to burst the pipe until at last he spilled out into the dark abyss below. He let out a hoarse yell as he landed with a thud on a circular table decorated with spikes. Oh, those naughty children. They had bound his hands with rope, and he felt like Christmas roast already ready for the fork. Garland lights strewn at one end of the dark cave. Santa squinted, trying to see his surroundings. The color of the room was a harsh neon blue, like nothing in his realm of white snow, green fir trees, and red candy canes. These phenomenate fluorescent lights reminded him of the blinking fish, plankton and blind fish that lived in the deep, dark deep. Slimy, vanished things. As the neon lights grew brighter, Santa blinked a few times, shook his skull, and flamed, beginning to take from in the darkness. Pretty sure that's a typo. They looked like part of a game of dice or checkers, but nothing like the sweet version his elves made. These games weren't made for children. A burst of purple light shone on the cave floor. Doors painted with glow in the dark, grinning skulls opened, and 2 dice clattered out. They skidded across the floor until they hit Santa Claus's beard, then rolled to a stop on the ground next to him. A sickly green light poured out of the chute overhead, like a spotlight illuminating a figure striding into the cave. Santa watched warily. Who was this fellow? He was as big as Santa Claus himself, or Santa himself, but appeared to be nothing more than a burlap sack, writhing, stitched together into the shape of a person. Roughly stitched together in the shape of a person, with only a vulgar suggestion of hands and feet. Uneven rips in the burlap sack served as eyes and a mouth. Well, 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 what have we here? Oogie Boogie asked, with his deep, crackling echo off the walls of the cave. What there was a reason Oogie Boogie stuck to his underground lair beyond the town gates. He was so vile that even the other monsters shuddered at his presence. They had been a time where he tried to take over Halloween Town and crown himself the Bug King, but he was creepy, crawly henchman, had made a mess of everything, stealing everyone's candy corn and leaving the pumpkins to rot. Now he was king of nothing but a festering hole. Oogie Boogie shimmied into the neon green spotlight. Sandy Claus. Oh, I'm scared. He pressed his cloth arms to his burlap chest as he opened his mouth in an exaggerated wail, showing off the worms that wiggled in his gums instead of teeth. Bugs tumbled out of his open mouth and landed on Santa Claus's beard, burrowing their way into the thick white hair. As the light grew brighter, Santa saw that the tacky neon decoration of Oogie Boogie's lair weren't symbols from board games, but rather games of chance. Gambling. Oh, what a dirty vice. Santa's elves would never make toys that encouraged gambling. He'd never dream of putting poker sets or toy slot machines under the tree. But this living burlap sack clearly felt different. In fact, Santa realized that the circular round table beneath him wasn't a table at all, but part of a giant roulette wheel. Nearby, 3 slot machines lit up in bright colors and gave off crackling coin sounds. What poor taste in decoration, Santa thought. The whole place was a cross between a torture chamber and a casino, and all of it stunk of mold. Oogie Boogie was with his burlap body. She shuffled around the roulette wheel, laughing huskily. He set the round table spinning, and Santa moaned as the world spun in a flash, bright blue and green. As soon as the table stopped, Oogie Boogie grabbed Santa by the tip of his beard and pulled him up until they were face to face. He leaned over him, letting a spider that was hanging off the tip of his head dangle an inch above the Christmas King's nose. I'm a gambling man, Mr. Claus. I live by the roll of the dice, and you will too. Wrapping his baggy arms around Santa, he swung the large man in a series of dizzying spins as the lights flashed and seated music played from the shadows. A yellow and black striped snake slithered out of his mouth. It was all he had for a tongue. Santa put on his sternest face. He wasn't much of a dancer, and certainly didn't want this burlap figure as a partner. Let me go at once. There will be a lot of disappointed children if I don't get free. Oogie Boogie howled at laughter at the ceiling of his cave and set it loose, a flock of neon-winged bats. Oh, you're too much. I'm shaking. He let go of Santa and pranced around his cavern, rattling chains and crunching bones in a torture press, and then grabbed a hook dangling off from the ceiling. He was relishing having something to toy with besides grubs, and he fully intended to get all the merrymaking he could out of this plump visitor. You ain't going anywhere, old man. He strung the hook between Santa's bound hands and turned the crank that lifted the Christmas King into the air onto a rope, swinging him around the multicolored spotlight dancing throughout the cave. I command you, release me, Santa ordered. Oogie Boogie knocked his baggy fist on the edge of the chute that leads to his minion's treehouse. Hear that, boys? He wants free. The cackling of lock, shock, and barrel carried down the chute, spilling into the cave, where they echoed forbiddingly. Oogie Boogie lowered the dangling Santa Claus until he could grab the man's white beard and pull him right up to the hollow ribs and tears to call a face. Oh, rips and tears, he called a face. The monster reeked of bugs and rot. You ain't going anywhere, Oogie Boogie said, with a throaty cackle. You and me, we're going to play a game. I didn't realize he's a Saul fan. That is the end of chapter 16. We'll be picking up chapter 17 in the next episode. I do hope to see you all there. Have a good day. Goodbye.